Hi everybody, we're here today with another great artist. Everybody, Ariadne.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks very much. Good to have you with us in our podcast. Ariadne, tell me about yourself. Where did you start your musical journey? What are you doing right now?
So I started singing when I was 8.
8 years old.
Yeah. So it's a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
My grandma kind of like heard me singing in the backyard. Everybody was away, and it was just me and my grandma, and I was singing like this Greek lullaby. And then my mom came home, and she was like, "You need to take her to vocal lessons."
Wow.
So I kind of started going to vocal lessons when I was 8.
Mm-hmm.
But it was more like fun and just, going there, singing songs. I don't really think it was like learning proper like technique and stuff, but it was just
It
having
was more
fun.
exploring
Yeah,
the potential of what could
definitely.
happen, yeah.
Yeah. So I think I kind of started focusing more on actually like learning and, practicing more in a sense when I was like 13, 14, and I kind of switched like music schools because it was too far away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I met my vocal coach, who is now like one of my best friends.
Wow.
And I met him, and basically when I was 16, I got so much into like music, like literally all I could do, I would go home, sing, everywhere I would go, I just put music on and stuff. And then that year I went to The Voice of Greece.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that's when I kind of realized that this is what I'm meant to be doing for the
What
rest of
happened
my
then?
life. It was the very first time I was in such a big stage, and like
In
people
front of a
were
big
there.
crowd, yeah.
Yeah. And I never like thought of music as a
How old were
career.
you?
16.
16 years
Yeah.
old, okay.
I was never like in front of people before that. I would do
Mm.
like small concerts in like my music school, but that wasn't the same with like parents there. So I think when I was on the stage of The Voice, it kind of felt like I was home, and
Mm.
I don't know. It just, I can't describe
It felt
it.
right.
It
It
felt
felt
like,
right.
yeah. And I also get like very, very nervous before I go on stage. But then as soon as I go on stage, it's like I'm alone and it's just me and the crowd. And I don't know, it was amazing. I cannot describe it. And that's kind of when it started, when I kind of realized, oh, like this felt like this was it.
Mm.
And I think after that, I kind of dived more into it. I started a little bit of songwriting. I asked my parents to get me like a MIDI keyboard,
Mm-hmm.
and started using like GarageBand and stuff.
Okay.
Which I'm horrible at production,
Okay.
like horrible. But I was using it to kind of like teach myself how to play like keys, basic keys, and started writing music.
When was a turning point in your life that you realize that you are meant to do this? Is that where you were in The Voice?
I think that was
Or
that was it. I mean, to be fair, like I wasn't planning to go study music because now I'm studying music,
mm-hmm.
but it was more like I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to do something more academic. And
Before. Okay.
before. And then when I went to The Voice and it was over, it was kind of like it took me away from what I loved, and I was really like devastated because of it, because I went from like 5 months, 6 months of doing what I loved continuously to not doing it at all. And it was just like, oh, like what is going on now? Like what's happening? And I think that was an indication that I was like, oh, my life doesn't really feel like I'm doing anything if I'm not doing music. But I was away from home for like 6 months because of The Voice, because it was in Greece, and I live in Cyprus. So it was really hard to balance like school and stuff. So my grades went down during that time.
Yeah.
So after The Voice, I kind of had to like focus on my grades and get them back up, because I was still thinking of going to medicine. I wasn't like saying 100% I wanted to do music.
Mm-hmm.
But then I sat down with my vocal coach and we were chatting, and I think at some point I just said it out loud, like, I do want to, I love music. I don't love medicine. Like, I love music. And he was like, well, then you have your answer. And then I told my dad, And my dad is very supportive. And he was like, to be fair, I always knew you were going to do music. My mom was a bit like meh at the beginning. She was like, but you could do that and actually have money and a stable future. But then I think she kind of realized that that's what I'm meant to do.
So tell me about the reaction of your parents when you were showing interest to music.
I think both of them were very supportive, like, for my whole journey of music. My mom was actually, like, very supportive when I was going to go to The Voice. But my dad was a bit like, where are you going? Like, there's a lot more that you don't know. And my dad kind of, like, owns a music venue back home, so he knows a few about, like, the music business and how things work. So I think he was trying to be protective of where I'm going. So my mom was like, yes, like, you can go, like, this is gonna be fun, you'll have experiences. But I think my mom was a little bit more, like, hesitant when I was actually going to study music, because she knew how good I was, but I don't think in Cyprus you kind of consider music as a career.
Sure.
It's quite a small country, and music back home is very different to music here. Back home it's like you start working at 12 a.m. and finish at 5 a.m., which obviously is not something that a woman is considered to be doing. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So I think that was kind of why my mom was like, but now she absolutely, like, knows and, you know, has my back. She was never like, oh, you shouldn't do it.
Do you think it's important to have that supportive surrounding?
I think 100%. I'm not sure if I would be able to, like, do it and believe in me if my parents and, like, the people that surround me were not believing in me as much. Because I still have, like, days where I doubt if I am a songwriter, if I'm good enough of a singer, and then, you know, having them supporting me and, like, telling me all this stuff is really important. But I know a lot of people who don't have the support from their parents, but they're still doing great. And in the end of the day, it's how much work you do and how much you believe in yourself as well.
So tell me, do you play any instruments?
Well, play.
Okay, depends how do you define play.
Yeah, like, I could write a song on keys using chords. I could most probably accompany myself if really, really needed. But I was doing, like, a TikTok live the other day and I was playing keys and I think I was so scared. Like, I was shaking. And it was just, like, so weird because if I'm on stage just singing, it feels very, like, calm and very, like, where I am. But if I'm in front of keys, because I don't know how to play really good, it's just like...
You have to think consciously.
Yeah, I'm like, where do I focus now? I don't know where to go. So it's like, yeah. But yeah, I only just play, like, a little bit to write songs.
Do you think it's important to be able to be an artist, be, in this case, be a singer, and play an instrument?
I think it helps, for sure. I don't think it's like, if you don't play instruments, you can't be an artist. There's many artists who don't even write their own songs and stuff. So it doesn't mean anything. But I think it would really help me if I could play, like, better keys in, like, feeling more comfortable with exploring things in songwriting. Because I'm realizing this now, like, we have these assessments at school and I have to ask my pianist to, like, record some piano stuff, whereas if I could do it, it'd just be a lot more quicker. It'd just be like, plug my laptop in and just start playing. But definitely would help. Something I want to do.
Let's just say I'm playing guitar or I'm playing piano for a year.
Yeah.
When can I call myself a piano player?
That is so hard. Well, I mean, I think
the instrument.
You could call yourself a piano player. I wouldn't call myself a piano player.
Okay.
But there's different levels of being a piano player. If you just started, you can't say I'm a virtuoso. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
when would you? So where is that definition and fine line in your mind?
When I don't have to think about playing.
Oh, okay. When it comes naturally.
When it's like, I don't have to think, oh my God, like, I now have to switch to another chord, or where am I going? And when I can improvise a little bit as well,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when I considered myself a singer, when I felt more comfortable and I wasn't just focused on hitting the notes right 100%. It's more about, I think, being able to add your artistic elements to singing. So I think that's when I would call myself a piano player. If I could do that while playing keys, I'd be like, yes, I am a piano player.
Do you come from a musical family?
No.
No.
So my mom starts singing when she wants people to go away from our house. So we have a party and she wants people to go away. She starts singing. So she annoys everybody and everybody goes away. My dad has a okay voice. Like, he hasn't worked on it, so maybe if he worked on it, it would be better. People say that my great-grandparents had a really good, like, voice, but I wasn't alive, so I can't really be the judge of it. I'll trust them. But I don't really think we come from a musical family.
So you're the first person who started following this path?
Yeah. I think my dad asked for a keyboard when he was a kid and only used it once. And now I was using it growing up. So, yeah, I don't know.
Is there any specific genre that you work in?
I think it's kind of like always elements of soul are always going to be there just because of what I used to like listen when growing up. I used to listen to a lot of like Etta James, Aretha Franklin, Whitney Houston, so all these like big power voices. But because I listened to such of like a big spectrum of styles, my dad was really into R&B and also rock, and I would listen to like rock soul as well with Tina Turner in there. So I feel like soul is a big thing in my music. I wanted to be elements there, and unavoidably there will be elements. But recently I kind of started not thinking about, oh, I need to write in this genre, I need to write in this genre. Because I used to be like, oh, but this is not like, this is very mainstream. Why is it mainstream? Like, I used to think that was a bad thing. But now it's more like, I'll just sit and whatever.
What changed your mind that mainstream is not bad?
Yeah, I think it was just like, oh, mainstream is only there for a month or two, and then it just doesn't like stay like for longer. And I did grow up, as I said, like listening to all these big voices and people that you still listen to now. And I kind of think that a lot of the mainstream songs might not stay like in longevity, if that makes sense. Like in 20 years, I'm not sure if I will be listening to songs where are now in the charts. But I kind of said to myself that if that day I feel like writing something a little bit more pop and catchy and more like that would do well in the charts, why should I feel ashamed of it? Or why should I feel like, oh, that is not as good as my other song that is a little bit more personal to myself? But yeah, I do go to Lipa, so there's a lot of people around me, and I think that really helped, the fact that I can see, oh, but I like this song, but when I write it, why don't I like it? So I think that really helped me, just being like, it doesn't matter, I shouldn't put like labels on my music. So yeah.
What do you see the difference between mainstream songs and the songs that are been listening to for the last 20-30 years? What do you see the difference between them?
I think quality is...
Quality in terms of...
I think people now are focused on being perfect, and their music being like, sometimes I feel like it's overly produced, whereas the music that I grew up listening to was more about what you had to say. Like a lot of Etta James. Yeah, a lot of Etta James songs, like if you heard her voice, it's not 100% perfect in like the way she sings it, but because there's so much emotion and passion, you don't even realize it, you get moved by it. And I think that's kind of what I struggle like finding now in new music. I don't easily get moved by it, and I do find myself comparing new music that I listen to like older music. But you know, I still have artists that I love, which are like now. Like there's this Greek-Canadian singer called Katerina Duska. I don't know if you watch Eurovision and stuff.
I have. Yeah. Not all of it though.
Yeah. So she represented Greece in 2019.
Okay.
And her voice is just magical. Her songs are a big inspiration of mine. I wrote this song called Oceans Apart last year, and after that, I felt like everything I wrote was not good enough, couldn't compare. And I was listening to her album and like her new EP, and one of the songs called News just like made me realize that I was trying too hard to like write a song better than Oceans Apart or match that level. And it made me realize that I should just let myself be, and inspiration will come and find me. I shouldn't be chasing after inspiration. So there's a lot of singers that I love nowadays, but most of the singers that I would love either have the type of voice that brings me back to like old times, or their songs have a big message.
So do you think it's more about the message itself?
Yeah.
Tell me, have you released any songs so far?
I haven't yet.
Why not?
I think there's two reasons.
Okay.
One of them is the fact that I want to have a few songs to follow.
Okay. You want to have
a few songs like to follow. I don't just want to release one and then not have anything.
Okay.
And I think a really good tip that they gave us in uni is that in reality, nobody except your parents are expecting a song soon, and it's better to be ready, plan things out before you just jump into it.
Sure.
But the other part is that I think I'm still a little bit like scared of releasing something.
Putting out the first song.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of a pressure behind it.
It's like, what should the first song be? It shouldn't be your best song because, you don't have that much audience. That's what they tell us at uni. So you need to like keep your best song for later, for the most eyes. But then you're like, but why would I start with something a little bit lower?
Yeah.
But then, I don't know, it's just so complicated in a way.
Yeah, sure.
And you know, most probably like when you write a song, you are attached to it, and especially if it's something you wrote because of a personal like story or something that happened, you're attached to it, so you don't want it to get like bad criticism. And I think as much as we say that we don't care, and
we do care. Or we care maybe subconsciously.
Yeah.
You know, I think even consciously we do care, but we try to say we don't.
Yeah, exactly. We're just like, I don't really care what that person can say. But at the end of the day, we are making music for ourselves, but also for others to listen to. And if there's nobody there to listen to, like...
As an artist, you want to see the reflection of your art, whether it's going to be a painting or obviously in this case a song, out there, and what kind of a comment you get. Although, as we said, consciously we tell ourselves that I don't care, this is me, it's me and as an artist. But just that moment that somebody comments below a song, we want to just go and see what's going on, what do they say. You know. So are you planning to release a song in the future, in the close future?
Yes. So I kind of submitted a few of my tracks, basically a few of my tracks on the BBC Introducing.
Before even releasing it.
Yeah, I just want to see how it will go, if it will get played. It's more towards like Adele, and it's like longer in like minutes, if that makes sense.
How many minutes?
It's like 4 minutes something.
Okay.
So I was just like in my head, I just wanted to check if they would even play the song, because now we live in like TikTok times where it's just like 7 seconds and people scroll away and stuff.
Sure.
And I personally hate it. I do not like that at all. I think just making songs starting with the chorus or no intros is just why? It's just like taking away a part of the song. But you know, I submitted that and that went really well. Another radio station saw it, and Merseyside Radio, and they played it a few times because people were requesting it. So I think that's good.
That's really good. So when are you planning to release it officially?
I think
is there a date for it?
Not a date.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe like October.
Okay.
But I think it's difficult to say because you know, October is a big time where big artists are going to be releasing, so you don't want your song to get hidden away. But then I don't know. There's a lot of things.
Hopefully in October then.
Hopefully not October.
What's it called?
Oceans Apart.
Oceans Apart. And is it like a personal experience that...
So we had this task in uni. We had to write. We had to present our best song yet. And I felt like I didn't have a best song, so I kind of sat down and started like playing around. And I was in a relationship back then, but it felt like it was towards the end.
Okay.
I was way too like busy recording stuff, doing live live gigs, so it was hard to balance relationship and that. So I started writing it, and at first I didn't realize what it was about until like I sent the lyrics to my best friend. She was like, "Oh, I really love the song, but are you and your boyfriend okay, or is something going on?" I was like, "No, I think we're good. Like it's fine." And then I looked at the lyrics and I was like, "Can I swear?" By the way, like, can I?
Yeah,
I was like, I looked at the lyrics and I was like, "Oh shit! Like, this is actually going on." Because I feel like it was in the back of my head and would wake up and not feel like 100%. It always felt like something was there bothering me. But after I looked at the lyrics and I realized it, I was just like, okay, that's it. So Oceans Apart is about like saying goodbye to somebody and just explaining things to them and stuff.
All the musical challenges aside, for a musician, this is a personal challenge that can be tough sometimes. Because at the same time as like listening to certain songs to be influenced by them, writing a song that might not sometimes mean something personally and you might observe it, but maybe explaining it to your partner might be a bit hard because they might be thinking, oh,
that's not me.
is that what it is? You know what you're thinking, you know? It might be hard.
Yeah.
And not even in a musical, not even in terms of the meaning of the song, even sometimes the kind of schedule that you have to be focused most of your day on your music, because music is one of those careers that you have to spend a lot of time. Sometimes you're just sitting behind the computer hours and hours that if somebody is looking at you from outside, they might be thinking, is he or she wasting their time? But that's not what it is. You gotta write down ideas and write down melodies and stuff like that for hours and hours. That might go nowhere even after a few weeks. You know what I mean?
You might have to start over again.
But for someone who might not be musical, or for someone who might not have that kind of an understanding, might be hard to understand what's going on and what is he or she doing sitting there for hours doing nothing. You know, but it's not doing nothing. I'm doing something. But from outside, that's how it appears. How did it happen to you? And what's your advice for people who want to be able to be in a relationship which is steady and stable, but at the same time being able to focus on a musical career?
I think if somebody can't understand your lifestyle, then that's not the right person. Like, I wouldn't go and date somebody who would complain about the fact that I have to work late. And as you said, and a lot of people don't realize, music is not a 9-to-5 job. It's more of a 24-hour.
24/7.
Your brain never stops. And it's like, I might be asleep, but then I'm just thinking of a melody and I have to wake up at 4 a.m. I'm like, and you listen back to my voice and like,
but that gives you an idea. That gives you some kind of a clue that might be leading to something else in the future.
Exactly. So I think it's important when you choose your partner for them to know what you're going through. And I think a mature conversation is really important. Like communication is a really big part of a relationship. So talking to them and explaining them, and if they have a problem and if they ever get insecure about it, because we are in an industry where you meet a lot of people, there's people around you all the time, and you know, if somebody's insecure because I met somebody and I'm friends with them, like you should talk about it. But that's really important. However, for me personally, what I experienced was guilt. I felt guilty because I couldn't see the other person as often as I could see them before, and it made me feel like a really bad person. just dragging them along in a way.
Sure.
It felt like that. It felt like,
Sure.
you know, no, I can't meet when you can, but can you meet when I can? It kind of felt very selfish in a way.
Yeah.
So I kind of preferred to be like, you know what, I don't want to drag you into this. Like, this is a bit like too busy of a period of time. I won't have time to see you. I have like studio sessions. I have, you know, band rehearsals, shows coming up. I don't have time to give you in a way. And it just felt very selfish. So I was just like, I'm sorry, like I don't want to do that to you. And it felt really hard, and that's why my song says I must be cruel to be kind. But, you know, in the long run, I feel like I'm really glad I did it and that I broke up with somebody. But in the moment, it felt like horrible. It felt like I sat down with my best friend down at the dogs, and she was like, we're not leaving until you text him. Like, it was just, yeah.
What did you study?
First of all, I don't think it's important for a musician to have studied music. As you said, some of the best musicians overall, whether that's singers or like instrumentalists or producers and stuff, maybe don't know how to read, don't know the music theory, but they feel everything. So I think the most important thing is to feel music. I don't think being like 100% technical and know all of the music theory tricks that will make you like suddenly the best musician out there. But you could be a genius in music, like don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean you're the best musician. Personally, like I kind of went to study music because I wasn't like ever into like music education, if that makes sense. I did like singing, but that was it. I never did like music theory and stuff. I only started doing music theory like a few months before going to uni. And the only reason I actually did go to music was because my dad said to me, if you want to go do music, you need to study it and learn more about it and like dive more into the technical stuff too. And also because with the music degree, you can go work as a teacher after.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of the reason. Because unfortunately, music is such a, how do I say, unstable in a way. Like you're not sure what's gonna happen. Uncertain type of like, you know, career. I could blow up overnight because of a TikTok video, but then I could also be in the streets. And having like a music degree could ensure you a little bit of more of a stability, that you could be like a professor in uni or you could be a vocal coach, blah, blah, blah. So I think that's it.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think that kind of a stigma exists all around the world because some people might think that it's only Eastern countries that music doesn't appeal as a proper job. But I think even in a lot of Western countries, music, especially initially when you're starting out music in the beginning, when you tell others that you're a musician, you say, how much money do you make? You know, there is that kind of a thing going on in the society that music does not appear to be a proper job unless you're making some kind of money out of it.
Or the worst is them thinking you're not doing any job at all. Like I had a friend from back home, which is like a family friend. She was just going to uni and she said to me, we're talking like on the phone, and she said to me, oh my God, it's so hard, but you wouldn't really understand because you're doing music where you are. And I was like, do you know I go home at like 2 a.m. and have to wake up at 7 again and like do it everything again, whereas you have to go at 9 and go to 5, like until 5 and go home and chill, and that's it. And every career has its like difficulties, but I think people underestimate music and musicians. I saw this TikTok the other day and it was just, what's the most pointless thing to study? And one of them said music.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then a lot of people said like art and stuff. So I feel like the stigma is really big on like arts and like performing arts, but also like drawing and stuff, like painting. I think people forget that without music, we would all be very depressed and
Yeah, 100%.
like over COVID, if I didn't have music, I don't know how I would be. Like when COVID hit, people relied to performing arts to keep them entertained when they had to stay in. So I think it's really important for people to realize that just because I'm a musician, it doesn't mean that I am less worthy of somebody who is a doctor or a lawyer. And I know a lot of people who will go to become doctors and lawyers just because they're scared to pursue music. And I think it's a lot more, you know, how do I say it without sounding rude? I think it's a lot more risky and like strong and powerful to chase your dream over just doing something.
Doing a 9-to-5 job.
Yeah, because
I agree.
Your mom wouldn't agree to it. Or
there's nothing wrong with doing a 9-to-5
definitely.
job, but I think it takes a massive amount of belief in yourself and in your abilities.
Yeah. Which is why I think if I was to ever do a master's, it'd be more like music business and artist management, because I do find that interesting as well, like managing artists and helping them grow as well. And I think there's a lot to learn for myself too in that department. Like if I go to do a master's in artist management, everything I learn I can use for myself.
Sure.
But like working in A&R companies is not something that I take out of my mind. I think if I was to do something else other than being a performer, it would be to work in like a label and be like an A&R and just
gives you a lot of insight and experience.
And I think I would try to not focus so much on like numbers, if that makes sense. And I know most probably like most A&Rs, that's what they say when they go in. They're like, oh, I want to focus on talent, blah, blah, blah. But then, you need to make money for the label as well.
Yeah, sure.
But I would really try to like bring talent in and not just somebody who will blow up and then a month later won't be there.
Do you have plan B?
It's really hard because sometimes I'm there like, I don't have a plan B. Like, this is what I want and I should just focus on it, because if you focus on something, it will happen. But then that's like my passion inside, like saying I like, that's it and that's all I want.
Okay.
But then my logical side, it's like, but realistically and statistically,
what if?
Statistically, there's not that much of a chance to happen. Okay. So you need to have a plan B. And I think my plan B would be to work in A&R and learn more about it and just...
So it would be still like related.
Yeah, definitely.
In some ways to music.
I would never... I mean, I don't want to say never, because when you have to make money to live...
Yes, of course.
You could do whatever.
Of course.
But I wouldn't want to work outside of the music business. Whether that's like literally me working in a label, delivering coffee to them, I'm still in the business. So...
Yeah, but that's the reality of the world. Do you feel that there is any kind of pressure from social media?
I think yes. Like, we grow up... I mean, I grew up with a lot of like beauty standards. Like the Kardashians are there. Now they're getting skinnier. We're going more towards the skinny now. They're like controlling how we should look.
Okay.
I think it really helps that artists such as Lizzo are in the industry now, who are representing like the bigger sized population.
Okay.
I could say we're getting better, but I recently did see a video of people... Again, this is like TikTok. I spend a lot of time on TikTok. Okay. It was like a video of Selena Gomez and people were like commenting, oh, she looks fat. Oh, she's getting weight, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I thought we were getting better. I thought we were just, let her be. She seems happy. So I do think there's a lot of expectations and being, good looking, whether that means, because that's very like subjective.
Yeah, of course.
Helps you, could really help. I can't even count how many people have told me, like, if you lost a bit of weight, like, your career would blow off and you just go. But I just think that it shouldn't be the main focus. Like, obviously, the way you look helps with also connecting with your audience and, feeling represented is something that is really important. And I think that's kind of why Adele also like, you know, became Adele. If I'm being honest, it was her talent, but also because there wasn't anybody else who was more plus size in the industry. So a lot of people and young girls and grown up women who had all those toxic standards in like the 90s and the 2000s kind of like saw Adele and were like, wow, somebody who finally has talent that doesn't just care about how they look. And that's why a lot of people just, you know, identified and saw themselves in Adele. So I think there's a lot of pressure, and I think the closer you look to the beauty standard, the easier it becomes. But then I don't want to be a clone of everybody else. Like, I want to be me, and if that means just being like a little bit bigger than the beauty standard, that's fine with me. Like,
how do you network?
I'm very chatty, so I think I can approach people, but I think I'm very fortunate about the fact that I go to LIPA, and you know, it's a school filled with like music producers, sound engineers, instrumentalists, backing singers. There's everything you need is there, and I think that's really good because I don't have to pay to go in an outside studio.
Sure.
And there's this thing at LIPA where it's like everybody's helping each other to like, because a producer won't ask for money in LIPA. They'll just be like, I want the credit, blah, blah, blah. Because it helps them build their portfolio as well. Of course.
Everybody help each other.
Yeah. So that makes things a lot easier to just be there and have everybody around you. And I've worked with many like producers at LIPA, and I found people that I can work with. I've worked with musicians who I couldn't work with because they have different like values about music. And I've met a few people, so now I have like a few people I know that I can trust with things, and I know their work matches what my standards are. So I can go towards them, and if they can't do it, they'll suggest me somebody else. So yeah. But I think I got a few like producers coming up to me after them hearing me singing live. So they just approach me after the gig and just be like, do you have any songs? Like, do you want to work on blah, blah, blah. So sometimes it's just both. Either they approach you or you approach them.
So where is that plan A? Where is that ultimate goal?
It's a dream and a goal. I think singing in front of thousands of people and hearing them, seeing them singing back your lyrics and connecting to you and like seeing their faces and feeling all of the emotions that you were feeling as you were singing it, but as you were writing it too. It's where I want to go. As much as this will sound very like, I don't know, weird or like very like I'm very, I don't know, I'm too cocky, but I don't just want to play in front of 20 people. That's a really great thing to do, and I love doing it now. Like, I love playing in small venues, and I really appreciate everybody who is coming in. But I want something bigger. I want to actually leave a mark and just not be another name. You know, that's what I want.
I think it's perfectly fine to be ambitious, you know. Ambition is important to just have that kind of vision and say, I want this. I want to play in front of 100,000 people. So what are 3 things in life that you want to promise yourself that you, when you walk out of here, if it's a long-term kind of goal you want to start doing, if it's a one-off kind of thing, you want to do it within the next few weeks?
Definitely long-term goal is to finish my songs. I have like a stack of them. I have like 3,000 recordings. 3,000 like voice memos.
Ideas.
Voice memos.
Okay.
It could be like a little bit less because some of them is just continuation of them on my phone.
How much is your like hard drive capacity?
I have 2 hard drives. Yeah. I've learned my lesson. Like, my hard drive, I had every song of mine.
Important.
I had a hard drive and I had every song I ever wrote there, and it stopped working.
Wow.
It stopped working.
Wow.
I never dropped it. It just stopped working. I lost
Did you have a panic attack after it?
No, but I did freak out. I was just like, well, shit, I've been working on everything. And I was like so glad that I had this old USB thing that I actually did save some of my favorite songs there.
Wow.
And then I was like, you know, if I can't remember it, it wasn't good enough of a song anyway.
Did you get it back working or?
No.
Wow.
I lost everything. Everything I was there. Like schoolwork, but songs, like things that I had like done in high school and stuff.
Wow.
I just lost them all. And I have 2 of them. 1 terabyte each. And I'm like just backing everything up.
Backing up is just crucial.
I've learned my lesson. Not doing it again. But yeah, I have so many songs who are just like ideas or like a verse and a pre-chorus and they're missing a chorus, or the opposite, like missing a second verse. It's like a full whole song and it's just missing a bridge, and I'm like, I need to get down to finish them, but I get very like easily distracted when I'm starting to write a song. It's just like one idea pops in my head, I start writing it, and then another idea pops in my head. I'm like, just like stop in a way, like I want to finish this song. So I think long-term goal is to go back, look at everything I have, delete a bunch of things that I think they're not good enough.
Okay.
And finish songs.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something I want to work in 2023.
Okay.
Just don't just start the songs and let them there.
Okay.
Finish them and then kind of assess where do you think they fall.
Turn
if they're
them
good.
into an actual song rather than just leave ideas.
Yeah. Because I think that's my problem. I feel like when I start writing a song, I don't give it a chance to actually form into a song. Okay. It's just like, if I don't fall in love with it right away, I'm just like, no, like it's going. Whereas I've made songs that I'm now falling in love with them. And in the beginning, I was like, who's going to listen to this? Like, I don't know what they are. Whereas now I'm just like, oh, actually, this is really good. So that's the biggest goal of 2023.
That's it.
Short-term goals. I think working on TikTok is very important now. Fortunately or unfortunately. So starting to like actually put content on TikTok consistently, whether that means twice a week or 3 times a week or every day for some people, just, you know, put something there.
Be more consistent.
Yeah. Can it be not like music related?
Of course it can be, yeah.
It's to be, because that kind of links to what we said before, it's to have more of a balance between work and like family and friends. Because I feel like sometimes I get so lost in doing my work that I forget like I need to have a social life and I need to like hang out with my friends.
Yeah, sure.
I need to call my parents. I need to call my grandma, ask her if she's doing okay.
I think that's every musician's story.
Yeah.
You know, and I think finding that balance is hard, especially in the beginning, because you have to spend time on your craft.
Definitely.
For so many hours and days and weeks, to be able to get it to a place that might be go nothing even after those many weeks.
Yeah, it's like,
you know what I mean?
How I just wasted all day doing nothing.
3 things that you're grateful for in your life.
My family and my friends, for sure. First. My brothers, I miss them way too much, I think.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm grateful that I'm healthy and I'm here. And I think I'm actually grateful for myself, if that makes sense.
Of course.
I'm grateful that I'm a strong woman and I will say my opinion and I won't just sit down and let things and people like stamp over me and pass me. I'll say my opinion. I think I'm very grateful that I have a voice and I'm not scared to shine light on things that are not fair or they're wrong and just people are ignoring them. So I would say I'm grateful for myself and how much I've, you know, evolved, and I'm enjoying where I'm going as like becoming a person, like the direction I'm going. I'm really enjoying it. So I can see a lot of growth from when I was 16 and how like insecure yet still like would have my voice and stand for what I like had to say, and now like growing more confidence through music as well, because I think music and doing gigs and stuff really helped me getting more confident.
Of course.
Not just on stage, but like in my personal life too.
Ariadne, last words.
I want to say that if they've ever been to any gigs of mine, I am very grateful. I get so many like messages and love after gigs, and I'm really grateful for the people who are always there as well. Like I see people who are gonna be in almost every gig, and I'm really happy and glad that people are connecting. I'm really happy that I get messages such as like, oh, your song has been on my mind, like for the past week and stuff, and that makes me really, really happy. So I want to say like very big thank you. And I think the last thing I want to say is, as I said before, like having your own voice is very important to me, because I can see how much unfairness there is, not just in the music industry, but like in the whole of the world, and things that are happening in life which people are kind of ignoring. And I don't know, this is like happened in my personal life with my friends, and it's just like people are ignoring it a lot, and it's just like, why would you ignore the specific subject just because you're scared of the consequences? I would rather have very harsh consequences because I was standing up for what I believed in and you know what I think it's right morally, than just be a sheep and just go with the flow because that's easier. So I think that's it, just to have a voice. And
Ariadne, everybody, thanks for coming to our podcast. I'm gonna put all the links to her social media down in the description. Make sure you go down there and click on those links and go give her a follow on her socials. And she promised us for her new upcoming song. We're not really sure. We haven't got a date, but it's coming soon. Thanks very much for coming. It was a pleasure, and hope to see you soon.
Hopefully. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.